It is Thursday, May 22nd. This is The Warning. Early this morning, shortly after the dawn on the East Coast, there was a vote that concluded. And never before in American history has so much been taken from so many by so few with so much. The most immoral budget in American history. The perversely and sickly titled Big Beautiful Bill passed the House of Representatives by one vote. There is an urgent moral necessity in the United States for there to be an opposition that forms and removes that MAGA Republican Congress from power. When the bill passed, the members of the Republican MAGA House surrounded the Christian nationalist speaker, Mike Johnson. One of them turned music on, "We Are the Champions," on his phone. We are the champions. They shook hands and they celebrated, sending to the United States Senate this immoral legislation. Now, I'm going to explain something because it's impossible for most people to comprehend what a billion is, what a trillion is. This immoral bill raises the American debt by $3 trillion. It is an act of generational theft. What's a trillion? A million seconds is 12 days from now. A billion is 33 years from now. A trillion is 33,000 years from now. That's the difference between a billion and a trillion. Millions of Americans will lose Medicaid coverage. They will have no health insurance. And of course, it's ordinary people who pay for that, while the richest, most entitled people in the history of the world, people who have everything and pay nothing and think they're entitled to it because of their genius, have decided to permit the taking and to support the taking while rural hospitals close, while millions of America's poor women and their children have no doctor to see across the richest country in the world. And we wonder why our political system is destabilized. Now, the simple truth of the matter is Donald Trump has cratered the American economy, and the representatives of the people that serve in the people's house don't represent the people. They serve and obey Donald Trump. They get on their knees for their king. And part of the reason for that is because we live in a country where the politicians pick their voters. And so a lot of these MAGA Republicans know they have the full support of their handpicked voters to perversely take things away from them that their kids need, that their friends need, that their relatives need, all across the country. While Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and the richest of the rich get more and more and more and more. It is obscene. Now, there are many obscenities that take place on a daily basis when it comes to the Trump regime. And one of them took place in the Oval Office with Donald Trump and the president of South Africa. Now, Donald is obsessed on this issue of what he calls the genocide of white farmers in South Africa. The truth of the matter is a high crime country. But whatever happened to America first? Let's watch Donald Trump hand the flyers of what he says, and you really can't take anything he says seriously, of murdered white South Africans to the president of South Africa in the American Oval Office in the White House.
Death, 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 horrible death, death. I don't know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do.
Why is Donald Trump so concerned about the plight of these Afrikaners? Oh, it's Elon. Remember him? The space Nazi? Let's remember something. Anytime you go on television and deny that you're not a Nazi, it's usually a good sign that you're probably a Nazi. But in Elon's case, let's watch the denial.
Unfortunately, what I've learned is that legacy media propaganda is very effective at making people believe things that aren't true.
What would an example of that be?
That I'm a Nazi, for example.
and watch the evidence.
My heart goes out to you.
And Elon Musk, of course, is the grandchild of Canadian Nazis, the child of a very sick father who impregnated his stepdaughter. We know what Elon Musk believes. And this poisonous philosophy is the reason a bunch of Jew-hating Afrikaners were admitted into the country. Now, Trump's Department of American Gestapo is rounding up college students who dare to write an essay talking about what's happening in the Middle East while importing anti-Semitic Afrikaners. And when you think about what's going on in America, why wasn't there more security at the Israeli consulate in Chicago where 2 Israeli embassy officials were assassinated by an American terrorist? Ice Barbie wasn't on her game. Ice Barbie's distracted, running around with Corey Lewandowski, her boy toy, on taxpayer dollars to photo shoot after photo shoot after photo shoot. Her eye is not on the ball. She's incompetent, doesn't know what habeas corpus is. Let's watch again.
So, Secretary Noem, what is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to.
Let me stop you, ma'am. Habeas corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
In these dangerous days, the danger is rising. But whatever happened to America first? Why is Donald Trump so suddenly concerned about these white South African people? There are 42,000 Americans who will lose their lives to gun violence this year. We'll have hundreds of American kids over the next couple of years wiped out during an ordinary school day by military weapons. And this is what Donald Trump is concerned about? His budget, by the way, has $140 billion, more than most military budgets of America's closest allies, for his mass deportation program. That's all the money you need to build a police state. And the House of Representatives passed the bill. And so the American people have to take back power from those people by throwing them out of office and electing anybody who does not have an R next to their name. If it's a D, if it's an I, have to vote these people out of office who have permitted the greatest acts of theft in American history. And meanwhile, over at the Department of Defense, you have the secretary, the alleged rapist, the certified drunk, the man-child who needs his wife, who they call Yoko Ono, to follow him around the secretary's suite to keep his zipper up, to keep the bottle away, and make sure his eyes don't stray, lest he encounter the lonely wife of a sailor at sea. So this man has decided, while the Pentagon is in chaos, to hold religious services where he preaches the gospel of his extremism to his captive audience. And one more abuse of power that's sickening. What the New York Times detailed in their account of these services at the Pentagon, they called Christian. It's not a Christian service. And Pastor Paula isn't a Christian. She's a con, she's a fraud, she's a demagogue, and you can judge whatever else you want to call this insanity. And it is insanity. Let's watch.
Strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory.
But it's not Christianity. It's about politics. It's about power. And when religious zealotry and political power meet, it always turns deadly. The most vile and evil places on earth are those that claim that they exist at God's will to do his will through the hands of a tyrannical leader or a cabal of them, as is the case in Iran. America is a pluralistic society, and its armed forces are made up of people of every faith known and none at all. It's another grotesque assault. It's another belligerent assertion of officious power at the expense of ordinary rights. These are dark days in America. Appreciate what you're seeing. the absurdities in the Oval Office, in the lectures, Donald Trump castigating the NBC News reporter. No questions for you, no soup for you, but it's serious. And appreciate this. Donald Trump, in this moment, is feeling his power. While the economy is cratering, while his poll numbers are cratering, he appreciates there is no opposition that is strong enough to stop him. And so his popularity doesn't matter to him. The only thing that does is his ability to assert power, which he does so more abusively and egregiously every day. This is The Warning. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.